Okay, so in this video, I'm going to walk through the steps for installing R and RStudio. If you search for install R 3.6.3, I'm going to be doing this for Windows 10. If you are using a Mac, there's a separate set of instructions for doing that on a Mac. And I'm going to click this download R 3.6.3 for Windows choice. And here we are, download R 3.6.3 for Windows. And that takes a few seconds to download. You can see it in my lower left of my window. I'm using Chrome as my browser. And once it's complete, I can see it in my download folder. Okay, so there it is. And I'll double click that guy. And I get asked, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Now, you probably don't see this in the video. I think that these account control screens are not captured by Camtasia. But when you're asked, do you want to allow this app to make changes, you click yes. And select the language. I'm going to use English. GNU General Public License. I'm going to just click next. And I'm going to accept the default for where this thing is going to be installed in my system. Click next again. The folder. Okay, now I had previously installed R and uninstalled it just to make sure that my procedure here was clean. And it's asking me, do I want to install in that folder anyway? I'm going to say yes. If you don't have that folder yet, you'll need to do what's necessary to have the install be there, or wherever you choose. And I'm going to install everything. Do you want to customize the startup options? No, I'm going to accept the defaults. R will create the program shortcuts. And R is a fine directory for that to go into. I do want to create a desktop shortcut, and I do want to create a quick launch shortcut, as well as doing these previously checked things in the registry entries. And here we go. It takes a remarkably short period of time, although I'll probably clip some of this out. Okay, completing the R for Windows setup. And I'll click Finish, and I'm all done. So now when I go to my Start menu, I'll see that R 3.6.3 is available for me. We want to make sure to use the x64, that is the 64-bit version of R. I'm going to... Okay, that was apparently already put into my Start menu by one of the choices that I made. I'm also going to put this into my taskbar, pinned taskbar, so I can easily launch it from down in my taskbar here. And let me start that running. There we are. Okay, so I have R version 3.6.3. which may be a little too small for you to read, but it is the correct version. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to install is R Rtools for R 3.6.3. This will enable me to rebuild packages from scratch if I need to, directly from source code. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to click Building R for Windows. That's where R Rtools is located. And the version that we want is rtools 3.5.exe. So I'll click that. That's also being downloaded into my download directory. And once it's finished flashing, it will be there. So let me now display that in the folder. There we go. There's R Rtools. So I will run R Rtools. And once again, I get this user account control screen, which very likely you can't see, but I'm going to say yes, I really do want to install this thing. English. And click Next. I want it installed in the R Rtools directory, so I'll click Next. And I will go ahead and accept the defaults as far as what's going to be installed here. I do want to add R Rtools to the system path so that if within R or within RStudio, which we're going to install next, we discover that some package needs to be rebuilt, R Rtools will be found because its directory is in the system path. So I'm going to check Add R Rtools System Path and click Next. And then I'm going to have a look at my system path, and I see that R Rtools bin is the first thing in the path. R Rtools min-gw is the second thing in the path. Now that's where the C++ compiler is located that is used to rebuild packages in R if necessary. So that all looks good. Now yours will look different from mine. This is my path on my system. Yours will be different from mine, but you should have R Rtools bin and R Rtools min-gw32 bin in your system path. Click Next and click Install. And again, this doesn't take terribly long, but I'll probably clip some of this part out. Okay, so we have finished, and so I'm going to click Finish, and R Rtools is installed. Now the third thing that we're going to install is RStudio Desktop. Okay, so that's going to be RStudio Desktop for Windows 10. Here we go, download RStudio. Okay, choose your version. Well, we're going to use RStudio Desktop because it's free. We don't need RStudio Server. So we'll click Download, and it checks to see what system we're running on. I am running on Windows 10 particularly, 64-bit. So I'm going to click Download RStudio for Windows. Once again, you can see the exe file being downloaded. All right, it appears to be complete, so I will go to my Downloads folder. There's RStudio, so I'll run it. And again, I get this user account control. I'm going to click Yes because I do want to install this. And welcome to setup. I'm fine with the directory. I want it to be called RStudio. So I'll click Install. I'll clip some of this out. And that's finished. So now I'll just click the Finish button, and I've got all three of these tools installed now. I'm going to close the plain old R interface by using Q, the Q function. I'm asked, do I want to save the workspace image? I'll say no, I haven't done anything yet. And now let me go to my Start menu, and here is RStudio in my Start menu. I want to also pin that to my taskbar. There we are. So now I can just launch RStudio from the taskbar. Okay, and here's RStudio. So in the left side, I have what's called the console window in which I type R code. And over on the right side, in the lower right corner, I have an output window that allows me to interact with files, shows me plots that I'm displaying, allows me to view things, blah, blah. So those are the major components of RStudio that we will care about. For this course, we're going to be using the so-called tidyverse package of data science tools. And I discovered when I ran through this installation process the first time that several packages that tidyverse requires were missing. So here they are. I need the packages lifecycle, backports, gtable, scales, fs, and with R. I'll hit the enter key here to install these packages. And chug, chug, chug. Okay, so everything worked. And next I'm going to install the tidyverse package itself. Install packages, tidyverse. All right, and that was successful. So now I want to load the tidyverse library. Whoop. And Shazam. All right, so I'm all set. Now, I did get some conflicts that I can ignore here, but I do have ggplot2, tibble, tidyr, readr, perr, and these other things that the tidyverse package requires. All right, and so assuming that this all worked for you just fine, you are now ready to go.